Good morning all. So as you can see, been doing the first stages of insulation, which is shoving it in all the little cavities and ribs, all in here, all in the top. I've managed to get it in pretty much everywhere apart from this on that side. It's blocked there and there's no other access. So I think what I'm going to have to do is cut this hole out on that side so I've got a window, and then I can stuff it properly, because you can't leave this uninsulated because it will have like 2 inches of frost growing off it. I've also done a little bit of work on the floor, just put some rust neutraliser down. Obviously wire brushed the bits first and then a bit of that rust converter, and that'll be fine. So I've got 2 rolls of this stuff, which is like the it's recycled plastic bottles and stuff. I'm going to need to go get another roll, which is great. I've used the whole roll of it just stuffing the cavities, and then I've got a massive roll of the bubble wrap foil, which I'm going to seal it all in with. Basically, insulation, it's just, the sky's the limit, isn't it, with it really. It can just get out of hand very quick in terms of money. I mean, these are costing me 400 a roll. I'm going to need 1 more, I think, to finish it. So that's 3 rolls of that, plus the foil. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother with the, you know, the squares that people put on, the bitumen things. I just don't really see the point, to be honest. I mean, you remember I was bitching and moaning about the squares, the rattle trap, bitumen, whatever it is. Ready for a demonstration? Okay. So this door I've not done yet, and it sounds like this, which is horrible. This is the normal sound that people try to get rid of. So they put the bitumen on there and then do this, and it's magically gone at the start of the build. Happy days. However, I've just spent the last couple of hours getting all this off. There's still a little bit more to go all around the edges. Pretty much there though. And also giving it a good clean, because all this in here was pretty nasty. A combination of grease from the from cooking and dust from the wood burner. Not great. You'll see it's all rough around the edge here, because I've just scraped all of the paint off because it was a bit flaky. So I'm going to give that a repaint before it goes on the van, because that's the sensible thing to do, isn't it? And what I'm going to do now is just measure this up for the hole, and then make a cardboard template of the hole that I need, just because that's how I prefer to do it, because then I can put that on the roof where I want it and just draw around it. I know I'm very lucky to have this now, and not everyone has this kind of setup, but I can't tell you how much nicer it is doing stuff like this and knowing that the van's undercover, you know, having a workshop and the outside bit, so I can go and cut a hole in the roof and I don't need to worry about the weather. That was the whole thing when I said about getting a base up here. It's for doing stuff like this, especially once we're actually, you know, when it's all built and I'm using it for repairs and adding new things and that sort of stuff. It's going to be bloody awesome having this place, rather than trying to do things in a car park or at the side of the road, which is fine. I mean, I've done it, but obviously this is better. I'm not trying to gloat, I'm just expressing my appreciation for it all, because it is just mad. Even though I built it all, you know. It's not like someone gave me it, but still, it just feels good. Fortunately, as you can probably hear, pissing it down with rain, so I tried filming the other day in this and the whole audio was ruined. So you're going to have a bit of a voiceover. But what I've done is, we've got our template that we put out of the cardboard. I've done a box out of masking tape on the roof. And now I'm going to go up there with a tape measure, get it in the middle so it's centred, because if it's not, that will annoy me a lot. Just draw around the cardboard template onto the masking tape and then off we go. I'm literally just going to do 4 holes in the corner with a drill, and then I'm probably going to just jigsaw it, to be honest. I'd like to use tin snips, but I think they may kink it too much, and because there's no structure in this roof, it's completely, there's no ribs or anything, so I'm just going to go for the jigsaw. Couple of coats of black now. I was going to do it on the roof, but came to my senses because this will definitely be easier. And it'll actually dry in here, it's nice and warm. But yeah, I don't really want a white blob on top of the van, so each to their own and all that, but it's not for me. Can't stand the white, it's like having a bloody sun on top of the van. Especially when the rest of the van's black. I did throw a bit of paint on this cut. Didn't film that, but just to try and stop it from rusting. But if you can see, what we have is these ridges in the roof. So we've got to do something about that. If we just put it on, we're going to have an uneven surface. So we have to build up the tape in these gaps. That's fine, but then on the underside, we're going to need to put some bracing. Definitely going to need 2 long ones down the edges. Say if we put a batten straight across and then screwed this, what's going to happen is this is going to dent in the middle. It's going to pull it down because it's only thin metal, and that's then going to create 4 points with a dip where over time water could work its way along. So we don't want that, obviously, but it's just going to give the roof a bit of structure back, because now it's cut, it's pretty much like paper. It won't take much flexing to make it potentially leak, although this tape is really good. We've got 2 there and 2 shorter ones on this side, so that's going to give us a full box. But then to stop these bits getting squashed, I've made some little spacer things, and they're going to go into there first, and then the batten is going to go on like this, like that, so then when it squashes down with the screws, they're not going to get compressed. I think that's the best way. That's going to be the strongest way to do it. Yeah, that's them then, and they've got some on. I'm going to go put it on the metal as well. Spacers first. Yeah, they're not coming off. So it only needs to hold until we start getting screws in it, and then obviously it's not going anywhere. I'm going to be using tech bolts to put it all in, which I'll show you in a minute if you don't know what they are. They basically drill their own hole, and also every bolt has its own waterproof washer around the top, so ideal for this, I'd say. This is called, I've always known it as a tech bolt, but roofing screw, blah blah blah. So we've got a socket on that end, and then we've got this end drills its own hole through metal or whatever you're going through, cuts through the metal just the right size that this then threads into whatever you're going into. But what we need to do on this first is drill all of these holes to 5mm, which is the width of these threads, so that this bolt can go in and move up and down. Otherwise this will go in, it will drill the hole, and then these threads will thread into this plastic, and as soon as the drill hits the metal underneath, this is the maxxfan is going to ride up the thread, and that's a problem. So to combat that, we're going to pre-drill the plastic, and then all this is going to be doing is drilling into the metal and then into the wood. But this is only going to be pulled down once the washer gets going. This will just make the whole process a lot easier. 24, 26 mounting points. So that's going to be solid, definitely. Bit of brake cleaner just around the edge, so that we'll make sure we've got no grease or anything greasy stuff on there. That will probably stop the tape from properly sticking. There you go, Simon. I know you'd be disappointed if these didn't make an appearance at least once on this build, albeit for something a bit less dramatic than metal. I'm going to do one layer of tape around the light, the fan, and then I'm going to do some on the roof as well. But a lot of people are scared of doing jobs like this, and I know it can be a bit intimidating, but it's really not that hard. You just got to get stuck in with it. See that there, I'm going to cut that off, because if I don't, I'll just put a new bit. Yeah, that's better, because that definitely would cause problems. And you see, as soon as it touches itself, that's it. It's one thing. You can't get it off. Okay, that'll be fine. So we've got another layer going on the van, so any of these seams will then be covered the other way around. But that will be fine. I'm confident with that. How's that crotch shot going?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Now, the question is getting this lined up first try.
Go on.
How's that looking? Is that, you know, the lip? Can you see if it's where we are? I think it's probably about right.
I would say that is spot on, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. Pretty much equidistant everywhere.
I reckon I won't press it down. Well, it's already game over anyway.
I was going to say that's stuck. Yeah.
That took it.
Yeah, and it's nothing on the inside either.
Oh, brilliant. We are installed, and I've done you a dirty, I'm afraid. I forgot to film the tape on the roof before I put this down, but it's basically the same as what I did. Just did a run of it around the opening. I can't see that leaking with 26 tech screws in it and pretty much a whole roll of that tape. I actually did 2 layers of it onto the metal itself, just on the low point, so I didn't put any on the ridges, and then on these points I put 2 layers all the way around, so it sort of balanced it out. It has gone a little bit wavy because I think I did the the middle bolts a bit too tight, but it's definitely sealed, I know that much. I had 2 pieces of the racking left, so I decided to extend it right to the back. I didn't have a piece to go over, so I've just used a bit of pressure treated 2x4, but I needed a bar at the back to fit lights and cameras and all of that sort of stuff, so this will do for now. I think it looks alright anyway. It'll look good when it got some lights on it. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, what's the point in putting cameras on it? Well, for once here, it's not for security. I'm actually doing it because when I'm parked up in these spots, instead of people coming and checking out your van, you get wildlife coming. And I want to be able to flip the screen on it in the back and have a look what's nosying around the van. I may or may not have gone overboard, depends on your view on life. But you know, if it was going to walk in the footsteps of the beast, then there's certain requirements, including these. I have only gone for 4 though, rather than 7. But a couple of floodlights on the back for reversing and such. Got the 2 cameras, one there, one on that corner. Obviously the running lights for no reason, just because they look cool. That's going to be the reverse camera on the front, and then we've got the orange flashes again for no reason. I want to do a nice job of the cabling, so put everything on it first and then run the loom, so I can put it all in the same trunking. Oh, and that's the aerial for the radio, you know. Might you remember? But all of this lot is all going to be fed into the same control panel in the front, which obviously is going to be an overhead switch panel, because that's just how I roll. I won't make you watch me do all the installation, because that'd be a bit cruel on you, wouldn't it? But I'll show you the first bit. I mean, it's not rocket science, it's literally just going to be a case of offer it up like this, get the size we want, give it a rip, check it again. It's going to go in there, and then we're just going to bang some spray glue on the back, and that's it. There's nothing more to it really, just then do all of it. Pardon? A blocked nozzle from the shop. Don't piss me off. There we go. Remember, wait for your glue to go tacky. In fact, I'll spray up here now, just so it's done. Just going to pop that in, and that's literally it. I'm just going to do that all over it. We're about halfway, so I thought I'd just flick the camera on for a second. So this wall is now on the second phase, which is sealing it all in with the bubble wrap, as best as I can anyway. Yeah, that's just going over everything, and then I'm just sealing it up with just thick, like heavy duty sellotape. I didn't see the point in buying the aluminium foil tape, because I mean, it's the same stickiness on either one, and the foil is 10 times more expensive, so just use the plastic. So I've just tried this idea I had that I've been excited about, so I've rushed it. Yeah, I wanted to carpet obviously all of the ribs, because yeah, they just look crap otherwise. I'm going to do all of the ribs all the way around, the doors, back doors, the lot. But I was looking at carpet, and it's like 50 quid a roll, and you don't even get much. So I just thought to myself, like, I don't want to not do it, but I'm not paying 50 quid just for flipping carpet. That probably wouldn't even be enough to do the whole thing. So then I had the idea of, why not just use blankets. This stuff is from the local hardware store. These blankets you buy, they're like £1, and they're stretchy, so you can squeeze it around places and get it all looking smart. And they're probably not quite as thick as carpet, but they're not far off, probably 1mm less or something. And I mean, I'm well happy with that. That's fine, no problem. I've obviously left a load of excess because I'm going to trap it in with the ply. It's glued down, but I want to put the ply over so it gets screwed and clamped, and it definitely ain't going to move. But yeah, that is, I put the foil, the bubble wrap, over the ribs first, because then we get a bit of an air gap, so at least it's got some kind of insulation. Obviously the ribs are full anyway, but I'd be happy with that finish if I'd just bought that, you know, a roll of carpet off eBay or whatever. In other words, I'm going to be able to do all the carpeting that I want in here for probably about £4. Another top tip, which I've just learnt: save yourself a crap load of money. Decided to have a day away from the camera yesterday, just because I've been filming pretty much every day for like 2 weeks. So I had a day off, but I didn't have a day off doing the van. We now have a fully carpeted wall and most of the one door. Still need to do something about that bit, but yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks very nice. There's one bit just here, I don't know if you can see, that I need to do something about, some kind of infill, because the ply kit isn't the best fit. See, it leaves a bit of a gap, but that's fine, I can figure that out. So I've also done this side, this is all carpeted. The front door pillars are done on both sides. The reason I've left this piece of ply bare is because obviously, you know, the units go in here and this is going to be covered, and then there's probably going to be a cupboard here, so it's kind of a waste of time carpeting it. Still got the side door to do, but I'm not doing that yet because I need to try and figure out a window. I want to put a window in that, so I kind of want to get that figured out first and then work around that. That looks better. So this grey that I've used for the ply is the same carpet as the black. It's just this stuff, basically. It's 100% polyester. Yeah, just cheapo 130 by 170 blankets. I mean, that looks fine to me. Well happy with that. There we go. Bye bye. I'll just quickly jump in and show you what I'm doing before I cover it all over. I don't know if it's going to work, it's kind of an experiment, but saving wood is the goal. So what we've got is the main one's going across and then a full sheet of the polystyrene, and I'm just under each rib. This is what I had to figure out, is how to do these, because obviously the floor's ribbed, so I'm running them across the very highest points, and then the polystyrene slotting in between, which is leaving an air gap under here. I don't think that's a particularly big deal, but it will make them, you know, they could crack. I think that's unlikely anyway, because the floor is 10mm ply, it's really strong. But what I'm doing is, in the high traffic bit, which is down the middle, because obviously this is covered by a bed, this is going to be whatever, I'm going to cut into the polystyrene, draw around and just plop this in and glue that down as well on all three. So we're just going to have a centre brace, and I think that'll be fine, to be honest. Obviously I'm going to fill all the sides in and stuff, and I've got to get creative with it, but that's the basic gist. And I'm just gluing it down with this No More Nails, which says it's good to -30. Just in case I didn't explain myself very well, which apparently I'm a professional at doing. Yeah, just draw around, cut it out, stuff on each rib, and in we go. Sorted. Now I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong here, but I can't understand why people don't use this. Well, I've never seen anyone using it. I mean, it's still, you know, air-filled insulation, so it's going to work. It just is. And this cost me, well, £20 sec a piece, which is like £1.50 or something, £1.60 I think. But obviously compare that to the price of like Celotex or whatever people normally use. That's a hell of a lot more money. I just don't get it. But again, it's an experiment. We'll find out, you know. Maybe it's crap, or maybe it'll fall to bits, or I don't know. We'll have to see, won't we? This is what we've ended up with. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. I think it's going to be fine. Say, all of the load bearing areas have got extra battening, so I'm not worried about the polystyrene breaking. This is going to be way warmer than my other van, I can already tell. We'll find out anyway, won't we? Because I can tell you now, I'm not going to gloss over things. Like, when we come to actually using this in the winter, if something doesn't work, or you know, the insulation doesn't do its job, or the carpet's shit, or whatever, I'll say, because I'm going to fix it anyway. So we're learning how to make a Arctic worthy van for as cheap as possible. For example, this whole floor of insulation and battening is less than a tenner. So yeah, we're doing pretty well. Like a bloody Apollo moon lander. But proof of concept, I was sitting on this, so I'll stand on it now. There's no cracking, there's no creaking. I think it's going to be fine. Right, I'm going to get the plywood in now. I think this is going to be a tight squeeze because of the carpet. Hold on, whoa, whoa, whoa. Need to really jam it in.
You're doing with something to protect it.
No.
It's quite a thick carpet, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Can I stand?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Maybe should I get a small van too?
Oh God, here we go. You've got a small van.
Should I get an even smaller one, just like you?
Well, what are you going to do with yours?
I don't know. What are you going to do with yours? No, I like my van actually.
I think that's about it for me today. I'm knackered. I'm sure I'm going to be doing a lot of this, looking out the side door, just sitting a little bit higher. I just put this map down to double check the length, because believe it or not, since I've had it, I've not even checked. I mean, I've had the same van before, so you know, I knew I was okay, but yeah, that's how much planning I do. Didn't even check if I could lay down in it before I started building it. But it is perfect, the perfect size as I remember. But yeah, we're moving quick. The last job I'm going to do today is get the floor screwed back down, just so that all of the glue is pressed overnight. I just gave it a wipe down because it's a bit dusty, but obviously it's going to be getting carpeted anyway. Probably try and buy that maybe next week or something, I don't know. Next time we go to town. I suppose we've got to start running cables soon, and that's going to be a job coming up. Get all the stuff on the roof sort of plumbed in. Anyway, we'll get there. Right, time for dinner, time for chill. See you later.